In this chapter, we're going to take a quick look at Hadoop support companies. We'll talk about why support is important, what options are available, and we'll give you concrete recommendations for support companies. For technologies like cloud and big data that are deep, wide, and extremely fast-moving, it makes a whole lot of sense to contract specialists to manage the setup and administration. Companies who do use support oftentimes enjoy a whole lot more agility because their internal resources are focused on the business problem, the differentiators that make the company stand out amongst its competitors. Even big companies like Netflix do this. When you contract with a support company, what you get is support engineers who do this all day. Any problems that may be new to you, they may have seen 20 or 30 times before in their entire year. Oftentimes, they can also help direct the growth of your cluster and recommend the not-so-obvious. Support also makes a whole lot of sense from a cost perspective. The resources that you get will likely pay for themselves within a year. A lot of organizations report that a support contract is typically 30 to 50% the cost of a full-time hire. Let's take a look at some of the options available. Front and center is Cloudera. Next is Hortonworks. Third is MapR. And last is the guys down the road. Most companies choose one of these options when they're looking for support. First up, Cloudera. Cloudera was founded in 2008, and they've been around longer than anyone. They employ some of the top minds in Hadoop, like Doug Cutting, Tom White, Jeff Hammerbacher, Lars George, Eric Sammer, so on and so forth. They're also an extensive contributor to some of the top projects, Impala, Flume, and Scoop. CDH is without a doubt the industry standard Hadoop distribution. It's also 100% open source and free, and Cloudera Manager is the best Hadoop manager out there. Hortonworks is another great company that was spun off by Yahoo in 2011. By using their own technologies on the Yahoo website and back-end products, they eat their own dog food. They're line for line probably the largest contributors to core Hadoop, and they also offer a 100% open source Hadoop distro called the Hortonworks Data Platform, or HDP. This is also the only distribution that I know of that can run on Windows. MapR is a Hadoop product and services company founded in 2009. They initially offered many advances over core Hadoop, mainly in the areas of performance, HA, and ease of use. I would, however, say that with Hadoop 2, many of these differentiators have been bridged, and in some cases, core Hadoop can now even outperform MapR. All of the versions of MapR branch from core Hadoop. They essentially put additional functionality on top of Hadoop. For users used to using core Hadoop, they may find things slightly different in the MapR branch. MapR does offer free versions of their product, but enterprise versions are also available and licensed. Outside of those three support companies, there's literally everybody else. And as we know, you get what you pay for. Although I pick on these guys, it can be a lot more cost-effective for smaller cluster management to hire a local support company, maybe an IT person you know who knows Hadoop really well. Obviously, if you're outsourcing your support to a smaller company, start small with them. Give them smaller projects and then open up their responsibilities as they prove their worth. In the beginning, screen very carefully and most importantly, get references. Realize that the smaller they are, the more you own them. With a larger support company, you may not be able to pull strings and say get somebody at 2 o'clock a.m. in the middle of the night, but also plan for outgrowing these individuals. In the interest of full disclosure, before I talk about my personal recommendations, I have to mention that I've never worked with anybody but Cloudera, but I've heard plenty of stories from the 200 to 300 students that I've had in Hadoop trainings I've delivered. I highly recommend going with Cloudera for both the products and the support. Not only because they have the longest history, but also I believe because they have the brightest future. Their support is extremely good. Many students in my classes have simply raved about the support they've gotten from Cloudera. I had, for instance, one student tell me that they spent 18 hours non-stop on a support call with Cloudera even calling up and ordering them deliver in pizzas while they were on the call. Other students have reported them being incredibly proactive. For instance, calling them up every quarter and saying, hey, we can get anybody on the phone to talk about any issue you want to next week. Tell us who you need and what you want done, and we'll round up the resources. They don't, for instance, bring in the A-level folks to sell the contract to you and then pass you off to B and C-level folks when you call up to get support. From the last year and a half working with them, I have just been blown away personally by their support. They even return my phone calls within minutes. And I've even had folks return my emails while they were in mid-flight, 30,000 feet up in the air. I've simply been blown away by how good their support is. They're also the fastest to market with the big differentiators like Impala. If you use CDH, you're going to get the benefits of things like Impala quicker. They're also 100% free, 100% open, and 100% core Hadoop, unlike MapRs, which are branches. If, for one reason or another, you're unable to go with Cloudera, I would choose Hortonworks as a second choice. Again, we don't see their distribution out in the wild as much, and I don't know that much about their support. In this chapter, we covered Hadoop support companies, talked about why support is important, looked at various options, and came up with one big recommendation, which is to go with Cloudera.